let me give a shout out to the D because let me tell you, my girl Rakia Jackson did not come to play with none of y'all. Do you feel me? She came out in the red, had the buffs on with the white stick. And then did an outfit switch on y'all, bro. I was like, my dog, you so Detroit. I love it.
Y'all, Monday's WNBA Draft was a sight like any other. From the fits that these ladies were wearing, the families, their teammates showing out. Paige Beckers looking like a proud mom. Verlia Edwards, Nika Mule. It was just an incredible show of all the talent and the work that they put in. Really special presentation. And of course, the worst kept secret was Caitlin Clark going number 1 overall to the Indiana Fever, right? And then you had Cam Brink going number 2. And I'm not going to run down the list of all the players who were drafted. But what I will say is when it comes to surprises and disappointments, or steals and disappointments, I felt like the Aces had a whole lot of steals. I'm shocked that these other teams allowed them to get Liz Kitley, right, who's probably going to have a redshirt year, if you will.
Yeah.
Getting the tutelage from Candace Parker and Deja Wilson. Deasia Fair, the 3rd all-time leading scorer. And, oh, by the way, Kate Martin, who only showed up to support Caitlin Clark. And then, lo and behold, they draft her. That was incredible. In terms of disappointments, though, and then I'll get into Terrika, I'm really interested, or I'm really struggling with the decision-making process from the Atlanta Dream, because they drafted 3 international players. And those are all talented from the film that I've watched over this past year. But all of them, according to Tanisha Wright, the head coach, they're still going to be playing overseas this year. So why did that bothers me, because I know they have a nice roster, but it's not a great roster. So I feel like there were different places that you could have gone to fulfill and add more depth to your team, whether it's on the wing or on the low block to help out Cheyenne Parker. So, yeah, those were my 2, I guess, steals and disappointments when it comes to the Aces and the Dream. But, Terrika, what really shook you on Monday?
Well, first and foremost, let me give a shout out to the D because let me tell you, my girl Rakia Jackson did not come to play with none of y'all. Do you feel me? She came out in the red, had the buffs on with the white stick, and then did an outfit switch on y'all, bro. I was like, my dog, you so Detroit. I love it. Absolutely love it. I also believe she's the highest picked WNBA player to ever come out of the city of Detroit. So I'm definitely showing her mad love for that. That's crazy love. Yeah. So there was that. I just wanted to throw that out there. Detroit what? So biggest steal, I don't even want to say this is a steal. I just wanted to say, if I'm picking winners and losers, Chicago Sky to me. What you got Cam and Angel to go along with Izzy Harris and Dana Evans, and Teresa Witherspoon is coaching y'all. Chicago about to be, there's no expectation for this Sky team. Y'all literally got rid of everybody. So there's no expectation. There's nothing but ceiling. I love this. I loved this move from Chicago. So Chicago to me, winners. Yeah. I was disappointed that Connecticut did not select Deasia Fair or Charisma Osborne. I was really hoping that they would go point guard. Yeah. But I also will be honest in saying that I am not familiar with the game of LaKane. So I don't know what they're getting in her. And I do want to take the time to see and do a little bit more research to know what they're getting in her. But to your point, Chris, and I'm sure my girl Ice, who is joining us, WNBA college women's basketball analyst, former Syracuse great. Y'all not going to double team me here on this area. Y'all not about to double team me. I just want to throw that out now. Y'all ain't finna double team me, damn orange. Jeez. But So I know she'll have some comments on this too, but I do think that Deasia Fair going to Vegas was an incredible steal. Having Liz Kitley there, possibly not only rehabbing, but really learning, understanding, prepping, and for the sake of saying that, Candace Parker doesn't return for a third year in Las Vegas. What an incredible center to have in Kitley. So, yeah, they definitely made some big moves late that I really loved. But Ice, girl, like, what did you think of last night's draft?
Yeah. One, I think it lived up to the hype. I think following the college basketball season, the undefeated Gamecocks and Caitlin Clark, like, I just think a lot of the storylines that we saw and seeing players being able to continue their careers, I felt like every pick, I almost felt like Andrea Carter, like while we were watching the show, like, oh, that's a good fit. Oh, that's a good fit. Oh, that's a good fit for her. And so you just want a lot of these players to be able, like you said, Terrika, to learn from those that are in front of them. You talk about steals, but I just think about like, stealing wealth, stealing game. Deasia Fair in training camp, like to be around Kelsey Plum, Chelsea Gray, Kitley, like you said, to learn from A'ja Wilson for a year. Like Becky Hammond is planning for the future. Like she knows the three-peat is on the way. And she's like, after that, we're going to need to re-up, and she's planning for the future. Chicago. I think Chicago will be the hungriest team in the league. Like hungry. We forget about Marina Mabry that's there. Like has improved her game tremendously overseas every single year. Dana Evans, who had to play behind several guards, but now Kalia Copper isn't there. She can be as hungry as she wants. And then you just add Camilla, you add Angel, you add Izzy. Like it's just going to be a hungry team. So I love Teaspoon. I'm excited to see what she can do as a former player, now head coach in the W. I think it's a lot of firsts there in that organization. So I think Chicago can start with that. For Atlanta, because you mentioned this, I sometimes find it difficult when we go overseas too early in the draft. Like if we have young players that are especially young, some of these players were born in 2004. I was almost 10 then, and I'm young. Come on. So I'm just like, we go overseas really, really early in the draft, right? First round. We leave players like Nika Mule, Charisma Osborne, Celeste Taylor.
Right.
We talk about steals. I think Indiana Fever.
Yeah.
We obviously Caitlin Clark and Leah Boston, but you just also got one of the best perimeter defenders we saw in the college game. If she can keep herself on that roster, now we see a two-way roster. We know Aaliyah plays defense. We know Celeste plays defense. We know Erica Wheeler will do things, right? So I think that they have a lot of pieces over there. But I also thought Celeste Taylor, Charisma Osborne, Nika Mule going so late just tells you the depth of this draft, which we haven't seen in a couple years. I really do think the draft has been short for a few years, but this year it was really, really deep.
It was deep. And the other thing that really gave me a lot of, I would say, excitement or intrigue is the New York Liberty. We know how much they needed a guard who could play defense, but also create their own shot. And I thought a lot of people, in the crowd, they wanted Nika Mule to go there, but they went with Marquisha Davis. So shout out Coach Yo from Ole Miss. This is a lady who is going to be a wonderful fit for the Liberty. And I know they are stacked, right, in terms of roster spots, but I think this will definitely help them, elevate them, and give them a better shot eventually if they are going to meet with the Las Vegas Aces in the finals once again. But, yeah, what did you think, Terrika, about the moves the Liberty made after the season they had last year, knowing the deficiencies that they needed to shore up? Oh, and also Jalen Sherrod. Jalen Sherrod should have been drafted. Right?
Yes.
Now, they did sign her to a training camp spot, but the fact that she
that was one of my sleepers, Chris. That I have written down over here was like, we forget sometimes about those that get invited to training camps. We all focus on the draft. I think Jalen Sherrod will mess up somebody's spot or at least expose an area that they really need to fill, like you're talking about.
Yeah. I don't really have thoughts one way or the other on New York's draft pick. I am a fan of Marquisha Davis. I'm not sure if I really would have saw her going to New York. Like nothing about her. Just, I feel like at the same time there are things that I would have rather seen her learn from a different team. So I was a little surprised to see her going to New York. But quite honestly, I think the two teams that surprised me the most, or let me not say the two teams, the two selections that surprised me the most was one, Aaliyah Edwards going to Washington. I honestly thought she would have either ended up in Dallas or Minnesota. So with that same thought process, Alisa Peely going to Minnesota, I was surprised by that. I honestly thought Aaliyah was gonna be in Minnesota, and I was thinking, wow, Aaliyah on the inside causing some damage with Diamond, who's coming back for a second year fee. Like I'm already like thinking like, okay, this is a good 6 seed right here, 5-6 seed that we seeing like easily. That's even before the season starts, right? So I was surprised, but I'm also thinking to myself, I like Alisa Peely in Minnesota. Like something about that post player that Minnesota was truly missing because of injuries last year. I just really think that now that I'm like processing it, I'm like, okay, I could see this working out, but I was surprised by that pick. I think the other surprise, but good surprise, and it probably wasn't a surprise to many, but it was definitely a surprise to me. I actually thought that Chicago was going to pick, not Chicago, LA was going to pick Camila Cardoso fourth.
Oh, yeah.
Rickea Jackson. Oh!
Right.
Oh, LA! You now have a true perimeter go-to option in Rickea that this team absolutely needed. And now you got a rim protector now. They're going to have to work with Cam to, one, ensure her discipline so that she can stay out of foul trouble.
Yes.
And two, I think of the two between her and Camila, I get it. She was the better offensive weapon. But I'm thinking, my goodness, what a way to rebuild what a way to rebuild a team and rebuild a program with two players who are going to bring you offensively, solidify you on that end. Two, will defensively, will from the perimeter and from the paint, you got that lockdown defensively. And three, Cam and Rickea are as Hollywood as it gets.
You thought him acting up.
They're as Hollywood as it gets. You done brought the D to LA. About to cut up. Call Jamel and tell her what's good when you get out there.
Remember, Jamel gonna act a fool.
I absolutely love this. Ice, who were your surprises? Like, what surprised you in the draft?
Yeah, so I would say, pleasant surprise, and who I really liked, a really good pick, was J.C. Sheldon to Dallas. I think Dallas has a number of guards who didn't play last year, like Lou Lopez-Seneschal, that graduated from UConn, that didn't get a lot of time. I love J.C.'s game. She's a two-way player. She had said, in her interview, she's excited to play with Arike Ogunbowale. And I think this is a team that has some depth inside, right? They built the last couple of years, but they brought in a lot of good guards to compete in that training camp. Also, Ashley Owusu. Owusu was also going to Dallas. It was towards that. We know Ashley was hooping. Yeah. Ashley was hooping when she was in the right program, right? Under people who believed in her. And so I feel like she's got something to prove. So I love like the JC, the Ashley, the Lou Lopez-Seneschal, Veronica Burton. Like they have some good guards over there. And then Crystal Dangerfield that can really challenge each other and figure out who is the best guard group to bring to this team to complement Arike once Satu comes back. And then obviously they have their inside presence. I think Dallas can be one of the most versatile teams in the league. And that's what I'm looking to see. I think they have versatile pieces.
Yeah.
No, they definitely do. Like you said, they have a lot of great role players or potential role players, coming off the bench at the perimeter spot, at the guard play. They're going to be right. Last year, we thought they were going to be a pick that could potentially upset the Aces. We saw how close they got in a couple games of that last game. But this year, when you add the compliments of J.C. Sheldon, who's a great two-way player, 3-and-D, Ashley Owusu, she's a great bucket. I have a lot of high hopes for how they all work together. And you, Isis, have delivered right here on this show as expected, because you always do when you're on your A game and when you're on center stage. But that's going to wrap up this part of the broadcast. We're going to take a little short break, and then we're going to talk about conference realignment. But Isis, thanks so much for stopping by. We really appreciate you for everything you do.
Love you, cousin.
Love y'all. Y'all do great work. Thank you.